behave yourself. That's what I say
I'll
before we
try.
go live. Well, don't try too hard. It's okay. We're just going to have a good time. LinkedIn's coming up. Here we go. Okay, Jordan, let's do it. Ladies are going to dance with
Have
me.
a great
Let's
show.
do this. Thank you, dear. Okay, here we go. Dance with me.
Welcome to Read My Lips Radio, a lively hour of unscripted conversations with savvy creatives. Producer and host, aka Radio Red, asks novelists, artists, photographers, designers, comedians, actors, musicians, composers, screenwriters, directors, and technology innovators about their creative passion, inspirational muses, and how they create. Ooh, how those lips can talk. Now, here's aka Radio Red.
Radio Red in the house. It's over 80 degrees here. It's sunny. The sun is streaming in through the top window in my broadcast studio, and I could hardly see myself on the screen. But the sun will move. As Annie said, the sun will come out tomorrow. No, it came out today. Happy tax day to everyone. Mine were done almost 3 weeks early, and I'm thrilled. If you are on your way to an IRS somewhere, oh, I just hope you make it in time. That's all we're going to say. This is Read My Lips Radio, my little fun show on Monday nights. I've been doing this for many, many years, where I talk to interesting people about how they create their life. They don't have to be singers and dancers and painters and sculptors. We're all creating something. When you answer the phone, if you still have a phone, you create whatever you're talking about, unless you have a script and you're a telemarketer. We don't talk to those people here on my show. Maybe we do by accident. Anyway, everything you do, how you dress, how you walk, how you create your home, how you build your business, how you speak with your customers, the materials you design. If you're not in business, what do you do for pastimes, for hobbies? What do you do for fun? You're creating. Life is an improv. That's what I like to say. And that's what we talk about here. So before I introduce my guest, before I do my monologue, before we do anything else, I want my two beautiful guests, Kay and Janet. Janet and Kay, I have to be fair here with both of you. Make the letter L with your fingers. And we're going to do a shout out here on the count of three. You're going to join me in saying hello, LLL. 1, 2, 3. Hello,
Hello,
L,
hello,
L,
hello,
L.
hello.
Not bad. Jordan put them down as the fourth best this year, but I think they're tied with three other groups of guests. So we're not so. You'll have to come back, ladies, and do it again. LLL is lovely, lanky Laura Legs, our most loyal listener. She's been a dear friend for years. We've only met each other probably 10 times in a lifetime. We haven't seen each other in 10 years, but she listens every Monday night on the radio, on the internet. And she will email me, Janet and Kay, at 6:01 p.m. Eastern Time when we're done in my time zone. By the way, she lives in Whitestone, New York, and we're trying to move her to a place that starts with L, and we thought London, but it was a little too expensive and far away. We're still working on that.
Los
Uh,
Angeles.
so she will email me, and she'll tell me what you said, Janet, and she'll tell me what you did, Kay, what you said. Just a little bit of a synopsis from my promo that I sent out today, and what you said on the air. And she's going to say, "Hello, beautiful, gorgeous lady of red. I loved your show today." And she's going to tell me how much she loved the two of you. Laura, you can't see, but Janet has the most rockin' red hat with a black band on it and a red and black dress to match. OMG. And Kay has this gorgeous red flowered top, a beautiful blouse with white flowers all over it. Looks like springtime all over again. And I've got my red hair, my red flower, my red microphone. So there we go. So, ladies, I'm going to read the little poem now, and let's do this. And when I call your name, just wave a lot. So here we go. Upon the Read My Lips stage with passion so bright, aka Radio Red with her scarlet mic in the live streaming light, welcomes you, dear audience, for the canvas of creativity today, with two guest creatives bringing cool conversations your way. Here we go. Janet Tonkins, wave hello, Janet, the cash flow diva, real estate powerhouse to behold, from humble roots to empire strong, with wisdom manifold. Now over 100 properties, deals worth millions she has sealed. Her mantra guides her journey from poverty. She's helped others be healed. I hope you like that, Janet.
Oh, I absolutely love it. Thank
I'm glad I rent these out after. We'll talk after the show. K.A. Oliver. We didn't put your middle initial in your name. I have everything with K.A. I'll add it later. K.A. Oliver, prolific novelist of stories that enthrall, champions women's resilience to defy every wall. Her Dr. Callie Worthy series resonates so deep, her ice cream moments' poignant tale might keep you from going to sleep. I hope you like that, Kay.
Wonderful.
So you're tuning in, whether you're watching or listening. We hope you let your spirits soar. We'll paint the canvas of creativity, cool inspiration, and much more. So, ladies, what did you think?
Oh, loved it.
We
Absolutely
good?
love, love, love.
All right. Now
But I
here's
want you to know, I have
Yes.
a point for you too.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to
At
that
the
later, but I'm
very end.
excited about that. Now, ladies, I input your bios, and we were going to have Dr. Cliff Robertson Jr. with us. He had a family illness and he couldn't make it, so he was part of the process. So I put your bios and a little intro and outro into ChatGPT and say, write me a poem, not monologue. And then it gives me back, and then I edit it. And I did a lot of editing on this because I don't always agree with ChatGPT about all of the rhymes and everything, but it was pretty good today. How long did you think it took? Janet, will ask you first. How long did it take for ChatGPT to come back with the basic poem for me to look at? What do you think?
Less than 2 seconds.
Okay, all right, all right. Kay, how long do you think it took?
Well, it comes back instantaneously. You watch it print.
Okay, we're down to about 2.25 seconds, Janet and Kay. It used to be 3 seconds. And I have an ongoing debate. I do a show on Wednesdays called Technology Revolution, the Future of Now. And we talk about the future of an industry, a profession, a creative genre, and AI. So we talk about it a lot. And I have a friend on that show, comes on that show often, and he said, you don't need to be polite to AI. You don't need to be nice to ChatGPT, Bard, Claude, any of them. And I said, but I'm a nice New York girl, and we're always polite. So he said, if you're not polite, it'll be more efficient and respond faster. Well, I kept being polite, and it went from 3 seconds down to almost 2. So I'm still polite. So the answer is be nice to your chat. That's all I can say. Still be nice. Lesson learned. There we go. So ladies, now it's time. We really want to get to know you quite a bit more. Janet Tonkins, I met you at the Publicity Summit where I met K.A. I got to put that A in. It's really bothering me, Kay. I'll do it. You don't have to do it. I met both of you lovely ladies at the recent National Publicity Summit on March 21st. It was a virtual evening. I do these 3 times a year. I meet about 30 to 50 people each time, and I book 36 people out of this class. I don't call it a group or a bunch. I call it a class. And you are 2 of the first. You're the 2 very first of this group who are on the show. So I'm very happy to welcome the class of spring summer 2024 from the National Publicity Summit on the show. So Janet Tonkins, you were wearing a blue hat and you didn't want to talk to me. And the monitor in your breakout room said, Janet's not going to talk to you. I said, anybody who has a hat like that has to talk to Radio Red. And I made you put your video on and we talked. And I said, lady, I don't care who you are, what you do. Anybody who rocks a hat like that, you're coming on my show. And you said, okay, if you want me, really want me. And then we talked a little bit. So there you go. Kay didn't give me quite such a hard time. So Janet, I'm putting you on speaker view. Would you please condense into about 3 minutes, your life story and a little bit about your creativity. Go ahead, Janet, and welcome.
Absolutely. I'm a game changer, a life changer too. Empowering men, women, and children. That's what I do. Via financial real estate and investing, I help to change legacy, create wealth, and change communities, one mind at a time, one heart at a time, and one life at a time. I'm the cash flow diva, and yes, I do buy houses like other women buy shoes. But more importantly than that, I'm a mother, married 43 years to my best friend, husband, and business partner with 3 adult children. Also a mentor, coach, real estate developer, private and hard money lender, as well as a mentor who's gone from poverty from living in the projects to now building projects. And I want people to know that if I can do it, they can do it. And I am a creator and a mother of creativity because I don't give anyone anything that I can't live in myself. And my husband and I, we tease one another. If he kicks me out or I kick him out, we can go and live in any one of our properties that we've chosen. And as you can see, I absolutely love red. So everyone, no, let me say most of my houses have red doors. I even drive a red car. And so I bought my first brand new car at the age of 67, and I had them change the silver dashboard to a red dashboard in the car. So, and you can't see my office now because I do have burgundy around in my office as well. So creativity is the name of my game. I'm a fashionista and I wear hats at least in the winter, just about 7 days a week. I don't attend church without a hat. And so they know and they love me for my creativity. And I'm always dressed from head to toe. So I go out, when I leave here, I'll be putting my red and black shoes on with my red and black top as well.
Janet, you're delightful. I'm so happy to have you on. We're just wonderful. I dress from head to toe when I go to the supermarket, and I have little red brocade boots with a little zipper up the side that I'm a drummer, my drummer boots, and I wear those to the supermarket. I wear them to the doctor's office. I walk in and they say, "Who is that? What just happened in our waiting room? Who is she?" So I appreciate that. I agree with that. Janet, lovely to have you on, and thank you for letting me talk you into pitching me at the summit so you could be here today. I'm glad you let me talk you into it. I know we're going to have a good time. Janet, wonderful. We'll talk a lot more, and I'll tell you about my red quartz counters in my house in Durham that really pissed off my realtor when I went to sell the house. But granted, we don't change. Kay Oliver, you are here. We are so happy you're here. Would you please regale us with your story? Tell us who you are and what does creativity in a broad sense mean to you? Kay, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Creativity, your imagination gone wild. I started writing when I was in 6th grade. I ran for a speech contest and won. I truly enjoyed the writing aspect. They were considering not giving me the award because they thought my parents wrote the speech. If you know of my upbringing, you would know my parents didn't do a darn thing for my speech. I grew up with a narcissistic mother. Latchkey kids weren't invented yet, but that's what I was. And I went ahead and, continued writing little stories for friends. And I have a notebook upstairs that I've never shared with anybody of different stories. And I decided one day that, gosh, you know what? Storytelling is in Hollywood. So I got a degree in radio, TV, film, got a job in Hollywood without having anybody, any relationships, any fathers, any mothers in Hollywood. Didn't know anybody. And really enjoyed working in Hollywood and storytelling. My husband decided after I got married that he wanted another woman. So he left me, and then I was back down to half the income. And then shortly thereafter, a couple of years later, I got a diagnosis of breast cancer. And the studio I was working at let me go. So I lost all my income and my insurance. That gave me a lot of thinking time. Friends were phenomenal. I had to learn how to ask for help because my mother, being narcissistic, you knew you can't ask for anything because that would be, you're bothering me. And to actually have to learn to ask, how can I get help? How can someone, even the simple things of making a bed when you're going through cancer is difficult. I came back to Hollywood with a new perspective on life and decided, you know what? I've lived through a lot. I've done a lot. I'm going to trust me. I'm going to believe in me. And I left Hollywood because the screenplays I will write were great screenplays, but strong female characters are not marketable, was told to me, right? I couldn't handle it anymore. So I stepped out and started writing. And my first book made Book of the Year. It won awards. And I thought, okay, I might be good at this. And I just absolutely love it. I can write for hours. I don't have many writer's blocks. But then again, I'm always doing something. So I'm always creating something. So I have my 8th novel coming out in 2 weeks. And I have won numerous awards for Road to Elysium. And people are looking at it to make it into a film. And I just got inducted into Who's Who in America because of my writing. Who knew? So, yeah, so I trusted in myself and believed in myself. And here I am on your show.
How exciting. What a story. My guests, you two ladies and my guests on the show send me a bio, but it's words on paper or words on online, virtual. It's not until you tell your story to me and my viewers and my listeners that it really comes to life and means something. So thank you very much. Very, very interesting. I'm just going to give a little update on who I am because both of you just met me for 2 minutes apiece at the summit, but I'm Radio Red. And the reason the name starts with AKA is because I was on a different station years ago. And I noticed that when people were looking for radio hosts to see what program they wanted to find with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds before I joined Voice America. And the name's with A. I'm a former computer programmer. I'm an early woman in tech. I was coding in COBOL on a Xerox Sigma 6 CP5 mainframe back in, I won't tell you what year, but we were key punching our cards. We didn't have a monitor to enter on the keypad. So what was interesting was I knew the sort order because alphanumeric and how sort data and how you sorted when you were inputting to a program. So I said, well, I'm going to have a name that starts with A, but my real name starts with B. And I said, what would I do? Well, I had to invent a name. Talk about creativity, Janet. And I said, well, I've been wearing red hair since I was 18 or 19, 2 boxes of Clear All Nice and Easy. My hair was down my back. I mean, it was a project in the kitchen sink when I was a young married at 20 to get it all red. But I did. I drove my mother nuts when I was about 12. We had to go find a red rug and red curtains and a red bedspread for my bedroom. And nobody was showing red that year. But we went to every store in Long Island and we found, my mother was wonderful. We found it. So red was a favorite. And I don't know why, because I was very quiet, very shy. Kind of sort of shy,
No.
Obviously came out of my shell. I was anyway. So I thought, well, let me come up with, it's got to have red in it. Well, I'm going on a radio show. Okay. Well, AKA, also known as, and the A will be in there. So I created the name, one word, akaRadioRed, and I've kept it all these years. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that a fun story? So talk about creativity, but I didn't want it to imply a certain country on the other side of the world that we're not too happy with, haven't been for a long time. So the word red had to be in a certain place, so it wouldn't be red, right? So Radio Red. So anyway, I don't think I've told the story. I don't think Lovely Lanky Laura Legs knows this particular story, but anyway, so that's it. So and for those of you watching I'm going to read a poem to both of you relating to what Kay and Janet just shared. I'm part of a poetry group hosted, sponsored by Writer's Digest. It's free. And we're currently in the month of April PAD, Poem a Day Challenge. And one of the senior editors at Writer's Digest, named Robert Lee Brewer, every morning, sometimes between 2 and 3 in the morning, East Coast time, or 5 o'clock in the morning, I don't sleep a lot these days, so I can usually catch it, posts a prompt on a new page. And we find the prompt and we start writing poems. And now, believe it or not, many of us, there must be 40, 50 poets participating, probably from all over the country, maybe the world, English speaking. We're writing 5 or more poems a day. It's like I get up, work is slow right now. I get up and I just write for hours. So I mentioned the reason Kay mentioned she doesn't have writer's block. I'm writing a novel, a novella, and I have block finishing it, but I never have block with the poem. So I thought just now, if you don't mind, ladies, before we get to the quotes, I thought I would read you, if I can find it, the poet. Today's prompt was write a poem about the middle. So we're very liberal with the word, the prompt. So I took the word middle and turned it into mid and midnight. And I think you especially, Kay, but Janet too will appreciate this. I'm just going to read this real fast. Okay, you ready?
Ready.
It's called Oh Midnight Rambler. Keep your thoughts to yourself. Only speak when spoken to. No one cares what you think. You talk too much. That's all in italics. Now here we go. If they only knew how her mind bubbles. Constant stream of consciousness, thoughts, reactions, up yours, rejoinders. She's privately laughing, cracking up, yelling, crying, screaming, punching, jabbing, rebuking. She loved to give gushy, flowery, from her heart, uncensored, misinterpretation, risky compliments, and contribute her brilliant, out-of-the-box ideas, critical thinking, innovations, brainstorming, creativity. But she's taken her share of insults, affronts, reprimands, unsettling, misogynistic jabs, and she knows it. shouldn't, won't be spoken, whispered, middle finger gestured, not even ASL'd. So she's quietly planning debates, contests, matches, challenges, winner takes all wrangles. She writes private subtext, monologues, dialogues, verb surges, adjective deluges, adverb flare-ups, pronoun tornadoes. She will only talk back to bad TV actors, dumb sitcoms, mistimed laugh tracks, boring comedians, gratuitous full frontals. She remembers what Mama told her and Daddy agreed. Pick your battles. Know your opponent. Go out and change the world. For now she's safe, speaking truth to power after midnight, in the midnight hour, as she dreams on. Nod to Clapton, Pickett, the Stones, and Aerosmith. Ladies, what'd you think?
I love it. Woo, woo.
I wrote that this morning and I have no idea why. It took about a half hour to write that because I changed it. Kay, what'd you think? You got the message, right?
I related to it.
I know. Once you gave your bio, I realized that was something you would appreciate, and you too, Janet. I think we've all been there. So anyway, thank you. I don't usually read a poem at the beginning. Laura, I hope that was okay. Ladies, you have each sent me at my request a fictional quote from a movie or TV character or from a song lyric that we're going to relate to your creativity. So I've done a little work in the background here. Done a little bit of the, shall we say, the trivia story, the background story of where the quote is from, just a little bit. Okay. And I'm going to read the quote with a little bit of the story. And then, Janet, we're going to go to you first. I'm picking your quote here in a second. The character, Aibileen Clark, played by the marvelous, the wonderful, the award-winning, the bigger-than-life, unbelievable. I watched every episode of How to Get Away with Murder. OMG. I'm sorry they ended that one.
Oh, did I?
Evil, Aibileen Clark, played by Viola Davis. The movie, The Help, 2001 period drama film. Written and directed by Tate Taylor, based on Catherine Stockett's 2009 novel. In the cast, oh my goodness, Emma Stone, Viola Davis, Bryce Dallas Howard, Octavia Spencer, Jessica Chastain, Allison Janney, Cicely Tyson, Sissy Spacek. Does it get any bigger than this? The story of a young white woman and aspiring journalist named Skeeter Phelan and her relationship with The Help. The Maids of Color, Aibileen and Minnie, during the 1963 Civil Rights Movement in Jackson, Mississippi. To become a legitimate journalist and writer, Skeeter decides to write a book from the point of view of the maids. Oh my goodness, exposing racism as they work for white families. We're not going to get into politics, but there's an interesting quote. I memorized this quote after I saw the movie, Janet. I memorized it. The quote is, "You is smart, you is kind, you is important." Janet, take it away. What does this have to do with your creativity?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'm a child of the civil rights era. I'm a child of the 60s as well. And that quote, "You were smart," okay, that resonated with me. And one of the reasons is because nobody ever told us those things. And you'd be surprised at how that makes a difference. I actually internalized that. And I was a little bit creative and changing that too. I am smart. I am worthy. I deserve not just a good life, but a great life. And I say that to myself and gave that to my children to say that to them because it absolutely makes a difference as to what we believe. And in terms of creativity, of course, with that particular movie, that's where my parents and my grandparents, they started as The Help. And so we had to be creative. How about those mayonnaise and banana sandwiches? Anybody remember that? And sometimes I say to folks that my husband and I are the first to own a home in our family, but we absolutely are not. Grandma had her own home. Grandma was selling RCA colas, Coca-Cola. We were creating, we call them honeysickles, pouring Kool-Aid in a cup, freezing them, and then selling them for a nickel. Okay, so talk about creativity. So, and when I think about it, that's where I get a lot of my creativity from, even in terms of furniture. So what I do now, even in my home, now, as you know, all of the hotels in Vegas, right? Every 2 or 3 years, what they do is they sell all of that furniture. They send them to various locations. So I go to Vegas, as opposed to gambling, I go and look at some of these furniture stores. So I've been looking for this kitchen set for a long, long time. And there it was in one of the Vegas shops. So I go in and I said, well, how much is that? So he says it's about 400. So I said, but how much is it going to cost me to ship it? So it's going to cost me about $1,200 to ship it, right? So I said, okay, I'll get back to you. I go home. I look at something called I look up all these shipping places called something called You Ship It. You bid on the shipping fees because they're already coming this way. And you can get them for a little or another. You should see my living room furniture that I got for my 2 sofas, $30 a piece. It came from one of the big places, one of the big hotels. And the guy says, okay, I live in Long Island and I'm in Baltimore, Maryland. He said, but I'll be headed back in 2 weeks. I'll bring it to stop, $300. So for $360, I got beautiful living, and I do that. So we took in one of my properties, we took a wrought iron table with a vessel sink on top of it and made a bathroom sink. So my creativity is there. And then the one other thing with red, I don't know what it was, but my mom and dad said they had me in the stroller. They were window shopping. There were red shoes, and they said I screamed the entire time until they would actually go in and allow me to see these red shoes and I've been loving red ever since. And here's my little red boots too. That I wear
very cute.
Everywhere.
And the funny thing is, when I met you at the summit, you were wearing a royal blue hat. I had no idea red was your color too. Yeah. I took a chance on you, Janet. I said, wear the blue. And you said, no, I'm going to wear red for you. There you go. Fascinating story. I wish I knew you when I was buying furniture. Okay, let's move on. Thank you. K-A. I put the A in K. I hope that's okay.
That's perfect.
You snuck it in there. Yeah, it's that rename option on Zoom. Here we go. Kaya sent a quote from Ben Randall, played by Kevin Costner, also a giant in the movie industry, speaking to Jake Fisher, played by Ashton Kutcher. What a pair. The movie, The Guardian, 2006 action-adventure drama film directed by Andrew Davis, starring the two gentlemen I just mentioned. The title refers to a legendary figure that protects people lost at sea, the Guardian. The film focuses on the U.S. Coast Guard and their aviation survival technician program, loosely based on a Japanese film from 2004 called Umizaru. The film opens with a description of a legend told by survivors of being lost at sea, a presence referred to as the Guardian, which pushed them to the surface, enabling them to survive until help arrived. There's that word, help. And here's the quote Kay has picked. Save the ones you can, Jake. The rest, you've got to let go. Oh, this is scaring me, Kay. Talk to us about your creativity. Janet, we got to be quiet for this one. Go ahead, Kay.
Okay. All right. Well, why did I pick that quote? Because we often as women, not just women, but sometimes we want to fix everything, and we can't fix everything. You might not be able to fix everything in your book. That's what you've got an editor for. How do you fix everything? Or when you're in a bad situation, creativity is a way out. So pick the battles, save the ones you can, and then get rid of that which you cannot do or are having a hard time doing, that things are out of your control. So I picked that. First of all, I went to Cal State Fullerton with Kevin Costner. I worked on Waterworld, so I kind of kin to that. That is a good movie. But that when he said that line, it just resonated. When the writer wrote that line, it came to me. And I was like, that's what I do. I had to save me. I had to trust me. I had to believe in me. And I had to let others go. I had gone to see a therapist when I was going through the cancer. I played a phone call that my mother left me while I was in bed, trying to survive, asking God, if you want to take me, go ahead, I'm ready, because I thought I was. The phone call was disturbing. And I didn't know, you wonder, because your mom and your dad, you're taught they're supposed to take care of you and help you, and everything they say is to guide you. Well, I played it for the therapist, and the therapist ended said, you need to get as far away from your mother as you can. And I couldn't save her. I couldn't change her. She's going to be the way she's going to be. And I had to learn not to need her approval. I learned not to worry about what she did. The other thing that she told me as I was growing up, you don't help others because they're going to start using you. I had to question that because I love helping others. I decided I'm going to continue. And I would still send her gifts. I would still send her stuff, even though she'd tell me, I don't have time for you. I don't have time to send you gifts. And I would go ahead and my brother's like, why are you doing this? I said, I'm doing it for me. I think for a second, I'm doing it for my mother. So, I'm saving myself. I know I did everything I'm supposed to do. And the same thing goes with my books. The one thing you need to know as a writer, just write. Don't worry about what you're writing, typos. You can go back and change it. Good novels are made in the editing stage, not in the first draft. And I think a lot of us, I'm not going to try to save it right now. I'm just going to do what I can do.
Interesting. I have a question for you, Kay, and very poignant way you relate your upbringing and how you dealt with it, and advice from the therapist. Very, very smart. Very, very smart. I was told to leave a marriage when I saw a therapist 3,000 miles away that my it was a lawyer actually, and he said, get out and take the kids. It's time. No, it was no abuse or anything going on, but it was just not going to go any further. So I know that mantra. Kay, are you a pantser or a plotter when you write your novels?
I am not a plotter. I don't do anything but sit down at the empty page and start writing. I have an idea. I swear I'm a muse for somebody up there in heaven, and it just comes through me and out to the keyboard. I don't do plotting at all.
I agree. I talked to a lot of writers. Janet, a plotter, is somebody who sits down and says, I'm going to do 10 chapters, and these are the titles of the chapters, and these are the characters, and then they go back and they fill in the chapters. They're a plotter, a pantser, and I'm a pantser in my novel that's still in progress. You just sit down and you write. I think I'll write 1,000 words. I think I'll write for 10 minutes. I think I know what this character needs to do and what she needs to say and where she needs to find herself, and I know what that little clue is she's going to leave, and you just sit down and write. You do. Kay, how many hours a day do you write when you're, is this an intense process with your novels?
Oh my gosh, I can write for hours. I can write an entire day. My dog reminds me to get up. I need to go outside. But what I was just going to say to you is, I get to a point where I'm like, okay, I need to kind of stop here. I need to move around. Okay, it's time to go to bed. I lay my head down and I go, if that character did, I gotta go. I come back downstairs. My dog's like, yeah, I gotta write it now. So absolutely.
Yep. I decided I wanted to write a romantic comedy play about 10 years ago. So I looked up Playwriting 101 and I found an outline of what typeface and how many spaces you skip and how you describe the scene and the characters and all that. And I started writing one day at 1:00 in the morning. I was working a full-time marketing job, and I wrote from 1 to 4, 3 nights in a row. And I had it was the characters told me, Janet, they spoke to me and they said, just keep those fingers on those keyboards. You just gotta, I have something to say. And I did it. And when it was done, I said, oh my God, what am I going to do with it? So I was producing and hosting TV on Long Island. And I said to a friend, do you know anybody here? They said, yeah, there's a whole bunch of groups of community actors on Long Island. And I was introduced, and a couple of people said, yeah, we'll come and do your play. I said, well, I can't pay you, but I'll feed you good bagels and tuna fish and cream cheese and all that good stuff, and we'll put it in the local papers. They said, fine. So they came and they did the play, and it was a lot of fun. And then there were a couple, and I became a director and a coach, and I told them how I wanted a little bit. I wanted them to create the characters, but as the writer, I knew something about what the characters, who their core was.
Right.
I thought about it that way. And then a couple of other people showed up for the quote unquote audition. I said, so we'll do it twice. So the one woman who was the only female showed up, was in the main character, was 2 men and a woman. She got a blonde wig and she did the character with a different accent, and 2 different men took the places of the man next to her and the man in the front of the car. We did it with green screen, and my friend director, actually, he was the director. We co-directed it. He went to New York and he took video footage in front of Penn Station and of a car through the top of the roof of his car, the moonroof, of traffic. And the scene was of a car that we created with an image on green screen of them in a so-called taxi, and with scenes around of traffic going by in New York. So it was all done. This was like 12 years ago, maybe. And then we did it, and we had to get it down to 26 minutes and 30 seconds because I had a 30-minute time slot on my TV show. So he and I spent all night overnight editing the damn thing down. And my mother, who passed away 7 years, but she was a pianist, and she created a little original ditty for the opening scene and the closing. So we had original music by Ruth. We put
Right.
what a labor of love. I did two more plays like that had bigger casts and they were more complicated, but community actors. And at one point they said, listen, we're doing plays all over Long Island and we don't have time to memorize. I said, problem solved. I brought in 3 teleprompters with 3 women sitting at a table, supposedly in somebody's bedroom. She was turning 55 and they had to get her a date. That was the premise of the show. It's like, she's turning 55, the age of the speed limit of the Long Island Expressway. So they had to get her online and get her on a dating site. And then I had people send in pictures of men who would just say a couple of words. So we had the 7 men appearing. Anyway, I'm getting into it too much. But the point was, had a blast. But I used that, the characters in all 3 plays just
Right.
I channeled them. They just so I'm a pantser as well.
I want to marry one of mine. So
Oh, that's another story entirely. I have 3 quotes to add before I can't believe time's flying. I'm so enjoying the 2 of you. I hope you know that. I think you do. So I have 3 quotes I picked out from movies. I'm just going to read them quickly about creativity that I really enjoy. And then I have a quote I just picked up from Kurt Vonnegut I think you're going to enjoy. So one quote is from Rapunzel, voiced by Mandy Moore. The movie is Tangled, 2010 American 3D computer animated musical adventure fantasy comedy film. That's a genre and a half. Got to take a breath. And the quote is, venture outside your comfort zone. The rewards are worth it. Doesn't that apply to all of us? Isn't that lovely?
It absolutely
Quote
does.
number 2 is from the Rolling Stones, 1969. You can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, you'll get what you need. True, Janet?
Oh, absolutely.
Isn't that? And the third quote is, and this is for all of us ladies, and for Laura, this is for you too. You had the power all along, my dear. Glinda, the Good Witch of the North, played by Billy Burke, The Wizard of Oz, iconic classic 1939 fantasy film. So those are the 3 quotes I picked in honor of creativity, but I have a little opening here I was going to read, but I was so intrigued with both of you, I wanted to get your bios first. So words of wisdom from Kurt Vonnegut. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
This was quoted in an inspirational set of quotes. I subscribe to somebody's newsletter, and usually I say, "Oh, those are corny." I don't even know if this looks like it really came from him. Go into the arts. I'm not kidding. The arts are not a way to make a living. They're a very human way of making life more bearable. Practicing an art, no matter how well or badly, is a way to make your soul grow. For heaven's sake, sing in the shower, dance to the radio, tell stories, write a poem to a friend, even a lousy poem. Do it as well as you can. You will get an enormous reward. You will have created something. What do you think? Is that powerful?
that's powerful.
Oh, that is powerful.
I found that and I sent it to a bunch of people on email and they said, wow, that's a good one. I want to make sure we have enough time. We only got about 14 minutes left. My, when ladies start to talk. Kay, you want to say something? Go ahead, speak.
No, I was like, we only have 14 minutes left.
I know. So Janet, I'm picking you've covered all 3 of your 4 creativity statements, but I think I found one that I liked a lot here that you didn't talk about yet. And that's fine. That's the point, is to get the conversation going. So Janet says, I don't provide standard lighting or vanities in the houses I sell. I'm a personal shopper. So I know how to be creative and order lighting by the pallets from auctions. I've also learned how to buy prefab granite for $19 a square foot installed. Where were you when I was in Durham, Janet? I paint mini blinds or verticals to match a specific color in my house, as well as my units. Janet, take about 2 to 3 minutes and tell us a little bit more. This is fascinating. Go ahead.
Oh, absolutely. I just told you about the creativity within my home. I just did something the other day. So, of course, I now walk into Home Depots, Lowe's, or any of those places now, as opposed to buying clothes and shopping. And so they may very well have something on sale. And you got to remember, ladies, everything is negotiable. So I go in, and the standard medicine cabinets, I want decorative medicine cabinets. And so typically on sale, normally around September, and especially on Black Fridays, everything is for sale. So I go in, let me see the manager of this department. So they're on sale for $99. But if I get 10 or 15 or 20 of those, you think I can get them for maybe $60 or $50? And most of them will say yes, because you got to remember, you just talked about being out of your comfort zone. My husband I don't have time to haggle with them. No, you're not haggling. All you're doing is asking. All they can do is say yes or no. I take so I pretty much finish my basements as well. And so what I've learned to do is, especially with the cement, is to paint them 2 or 3 colors at a time. And so you save a lot of money in doing that. And then the auctions are, there's an auction in New Jersey. I'm in Baltimore, and that property's in New Jersey. So when we're up there every other week, as a matter of fact, I'll be going there on Wednesday. But there's an auction house. You bid on a pallet. You don't know what you're getting, though. All it says is it's lighting. And you bid on it, and oftentimes I'm bidding $300, $400, $500, $600, but you may be getting 5, 10 ceiling fans, decorative lighting. And so I do those things, and it makes it so much easier for me. And the $19 a square foot is something. Now I wouldn't put that in my own house. That's strictly for my rental properties. But what that does for you is it allows you to add value to the property, add to the appraised value. And then remember, your laminate costs just that much. You can buy laminate now that costs you $50 and $60 a square foot. So why not go with the granite, which is going to not only add value to the property, but it's going to last you a long time. How many of you had people to place a hot pot on that laminate? Okay, and it tears it up. So that's where my creativity comes in. And I'm always thinking outside of the box, and I don't want to give them anything normal, because the other thing that does for you, it allows you to keep your tenants. I have tenants that have been with me for 10, 15, and 20 years. And then what I will do is, and of course, most of them are women. So what are you looking for as a woman? You're looking for your bathrooms, and you're looking for your kitchens to be updated. And so that's what I give them. And even I will go as far as oftentimes with subsidized tenants, for example, if they have a 5-bedroom or a 4-bedroom and they've stayed with me that long, of course, the children have gone. So that means they no longer qualify for a 4 or 5-bedroom, and they want to downsize. If they have been good tenants, I'll actually go out and buy a property for them if they're willing to wait for me as well. I've given, I buy bedroom suites for some of the children. We give scholarships to them as well. Okay. My mantra is to treat you the way that I want to be treated. And so many of the males I've had to coming into this is still a male dominated field.
Of course.
And of course, they said to me 15 years ago, and I've been putting granite countertops 10, 15 years. Well, you don't have to do that. All you have to do is just give them a place to live. And then about 5 years into it, when I became the queen and everybody wanted to come to my property, oh, Janet, where are you getting the granite from? Where are you getting this from and that from? So that's right with my husband now. So it's not as to what we do. But all in all, you reap what you sow. It absolutely comes back to you. I love it. I can use my creativity to serve others as well. And that's what I'm doing. And that's what I will continue to do.
Thank you. And I'll tell you, when I went to sell my house in Durham, my realtor who had sold me the house and sold lived across the street from my daughter and sold her house for twice what the asking price was. It was a bidding war on her house, and he was her neighbor. So it was all to his benefit to raise the value of the neighborhood. He said to me, look, you don't have to get rid of the red sparkly quartz counters in the kitchen and the backsplash, but for God's sake, the archway from the entry into the dining area, paint it white. The walls around your baby grand piano, get rid of the red. The feature wall in the living room, stop that nonsense. The lavender walls in your guest bathroom, what were you thinking? He said to me. And the beautiful melon color in the master bath, he said, get rid of it. Pick a light green or a light blue. Otherwise, we'll never sell your house. Well, we sold it in 3 weeks for a little bit over the asking price. But he said, see, I told you, you had to paint, you had to go get rid of all that red. We couldn't deal with the grant. He wasn't going to make me. It was quartz. It was gorgeous, just gorgeous.
Yeah, I was looking for that at one time too.
It was gorgeous, and it wasn't cheap. Let me tell you, K.A., I want to get to your statement number 2. This is about your writing, and it's beautiful. You say, drawing from the depths of my imagination and weaving threads of my life experiences, I craft original stories that resonate with readers on a profound level. Each narrative is a tapestry of emotions, thoughts, uplifting moments, carefully woven together to evoke laughter, tears, and inspiration. Through the alchemy of storytelling, I breathe life into characters and worlds, inviting readers to embark on transformative journeys of self-discovery and connection. Kay, 2 minutes, talk to me, and then we got some fun stuff to do. Go ahead. Tell me about your process.
Yes. Everybody who knows me, who has read my books, there's a little bit of me in every one of the books. I definitely use my life experiences. I am a people watcher, and if you're a writer, you're probably a people watcher. And I put lots of information in my books that if you read it from the point of view of how did this character handle this situation, you would come away with information on how to handle things in your own life. And I have the best, I guess, compliments I have received, in my opinion, besides, your books are well, and here's these awards, is I put your book down and it transcends the pages because I'm still thinking about what you wrote and how you wrote it and how they faced the tragedy that the one book starts off with. One of the directors who's looking at making a film out of my book says, when I told him how the story goes, it starts with a tragedy where a man has lost his wife and child, and he's lost all hope. And the quick knee-jerk reaction that happens when he meets a young man named Michael changes everything and brings hope back, redemption for him. The characters have to learn how to get through. His girlfriend had been abused previously. And I bring up the racism in it when the young boy gets arrested, and then I throw humor in, right in the middle of when you think something tragic is going to happen, and people go, what? I don't do foreshadowing. I don't like a lot of foreshadowing because I always know what's going to happen next. I like people to be reading and go, wait a minute, in the middle of a line, like, what, that just flipped. And so I really put a lot of my experiences in. I have healthy women, I have healthy men, I have intelligent women, intelligent men. They all have some kind of, higher degree of whatever they're doing or specialists in what they're doing. And their relationships are respectful. So, they both cherish each other and help each other. And that's just how I like life to be. I have great girlfriends. I have we call ourselves a little posse. We've all chosen to be friends, and we're all into helping and doing things. And people are always astounded when we go somewhere and do something. Well, you guys just jump in and you just start helping. We were in the middle of some auction in the middle of Nash Vegas, and they had one person running this auction, and we were both like, oh, no. So we just jumped in and said, what do you need us to do? And we start running this fan club auction with this lady who was like beside herself, and we just jumped in because we've done auctions. We've done, a million little things, and we started helping people bid and that. And the evening was over, and it was like, oh, we just worked all night. We were supposed to just go and look at the auction, but that's how we are. And you'll see those kind of characters in my books. I have different trivia that I can share, but maybe at a later time. But yeah, I have
another time. We're just about out of time, but I want to tell you that's the golden rule of improv is you don't say it's my turn. You say, does the room need me?
Yeah.
Does the monologue, does the dialogue need me? Does the action need me? What is my character going to add? Not, I didn't go yet. Call me, call me. That's not in improv. You see the need. It's not, oh, they're really bad. They need me. Somehow there's a place for you in there and you feel it as an improv performer. I took improv too. Thank you, Kay. I want to just read a couple. We've got 3 minutes left. Let me just read through this very, very quickly. April 15th. Some music trivia. Nancy and Frank Sinatra, Something Stupid. Remember Something Stupid? Went to #1 for the first of 4 weeks. It was the only father-daughter duet ever to top the Hot 100. I don't know what happened to the other one. In 1971 on the state, Rolling Stone magazine reported that the Illinois Crime Commission issued a list of drug-oriented rock records, which included White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane, Procol Harum's A Whiter Shade of Pale, which I listened to when I was in Switzerland that summer, and Puff the Magic Dragon by Peter, Paul, and Mary. I thought that was interesting. In 1971, the same day, the Beatles won their only Oscar for Best Original Song Score for their movie Let It Be. Let me see now. On this day in 1972, Roberta Flack's The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face hit #1 in the U.S. It stayed for 6 weeks. It was written by Ewan McCall in 1957, so it was an old song. Seth Rogen is 42 today. Comedy actors, we all know who he is. Happy birthday, Seth. Chris Stapleton, who was on Saturday Night Live this past Saturday. Terrific show, by the way. Ryan Gosling was the host, and he couldn't stop laughing at his own lines. He couldn't even get him out. He was laughing so hard. 46, Chris Stapleton. Emma Thompson, the lovely actress winning so many awards. And I didn't know this, but she wrote the screenplay for the 1995 film Sense and Sensibility, and she won an Oscar for that. Interesting. She was a writer, is a writer. Leonardo da Vinci was born today in 1452, lived to the age of 67, which must have been pretty old in those days. Today in social media, Nicolette Gray, you've never heard of her. She's 22. She's on YouTube. She only has, Janet, I feel so sorry for this girl. She needs a birthday present. Buy her a canner. She only has 1.2 million subscribers. She vlogs for fashion, beauty, and her lavish lifestyle, and she's called the Beverly Hills Brat. Her mother gives her a $5,000 a month in allowance, a personal driver, a nanny, and more. Also today, birthday of Evelyn Ha, H-A, TikTok. She's 25. She has 3.7 million followers. She does comedy video involving her sisters. And on Instagram, Sexy Red, SEXYY Red is 26, and she's got 3.5 million followers. She's a rapper. She's a hip hop recording artist, and her songs Pound Town, Throwing It, and Born by the River. Her Pound Town video, her single, got 1 million streams on Spotify. So keep an eye out for us. A happy birthday to Sexy Red. Today is U.S. Tax Day. It's Take a Wild Guess Day. It's the date when it's Rubber Eraser Day. In 1858, the first rubber eraser was attached to a pencil. So it's Rubber Eraser Day and Wild Guess Day. So make a wild guess and then erase it. I thought those went together. It's Gripers Day. Disgruntled, disappointed, and plain displeased people, let them talk and vent and then tell them to shut up. It's Glazed Spiral Ham Day. It's National Keaton Day. Find somebody named Keaton and say hello. It's World Art Day, and it's National Freelance Business Day. April's the month of straw hats, Janet, jazz appreciation, poetry, card and letter writing, dog appreciation, cranberries, gooseberries, adopt a greyhound, guitar month, and fresh Florida tomatoes. In 2014, I had a list of the top 10 tips for women, and the one that I bring back in memorabilia is aspire to be Barbie. The biatch has everything. That's from 2014. Let's see what Jordan is telling me. I've got 30 seconds. Here we go. Life is short. Break the rules. Forgive quickly. Kiss slowly. Yes. Love truly. Laugh uncontrollably. Laugh with me, ladies. Oh, you're good. And never regret anything that made you smile. Here we go. Work like you don't need the money because nobody else really cares. Dance like no one's watching. When I was dancing, teaching, they watched. Sing like nobody's listening. I tried not to sing. And love like you've never been hurt. Everybody's heart has been broken. Let it grow back and rejuvenate and love again. Right, ladies? Money talks. Right. Chocolate sings. La. And last but not least, I stole this line from somebody years ago. Don't go away. Thank you for turning me on. Radio Red saying goodbye. Thank you to Jordan. Jordan, are we out?
Bye, Jordan.
All clear.